Appreciate it. As Adrian mentioned, my name is Ray Thomas. I am Director of Business Development here at MSI Data. So I look after our partner program and more specifically our SAGE program. So great to be talking to all of you today. Up front, I'll say that I am going to talk hopefully rather enthusiastically, and that tends to make me talk a little bit more quickly. So apologies if I talk too quickly and you don't understand something. We do have a lot to get through today. We are also recording this presentation, so you'll be able to access it afterwards. But we're going to be talking about field service management for SAGE, and specifically SAGE 100 ERP. As far as what we're going to cover today, we'll spend a few minutes and slides with a company overview just about MSI Data, how we approach the markets, kind of what we do, and some of our products and capabilities. And then we'll get into the heart of the webinar, which is modernizing field service for SAGE 100 ERP. We've got 3 steps that we'll be talking about, which we think are unique to MSI and enable us to really do some different things utilizing technology. And those things are empowering schedulers, mobilizing service technicians, and involving stakeholders. So we'll talk about how we accomplish all of those and how that can be a benefit to your customers. After that, and then during that, we'll do some demos of our products. After that, we'll cover basically how we integrate to SAGE 100 from a technical perspective, how you can work with us from a business perspective, and how we can go to market together. I would ask that you would save your questions till the end, and that will enable us to hopefully get through as much content as possible and hopefully answer some of your questions in getting through that content. So with that, we'll jump into the company overview. First, just a quick note about kind of our company and our model for selling software. Our goal is to really make our software easy to acquire, easy to deploy, and if we do both of those things right, then we provide a rapid return on the investment. So our goal with our customers is really to get them up and running within 60 to 90 days. If there's enhancements, obviously that can extend that time period, but for the most part, our goal is to make it easy to deploy. We run on most major devices. We can host it in our cloud. We can run it on the customer server. As far as acquiring the software, we tend to license on a monthly fee per user model, which allows for companies to get into this a little bit easier. There's no high upfront cost. Customers won't be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get up and running and then not have anything to show for it at the end of 2 years. Our model is different. It's really pay or a monthly subscription model, get you up and running quickly, and then we get to that third point of providing a quick return on the investment. So that's kind of our model for our business and our solutions. And then that's kind of how we sell. Really, the reason that customers choose to work with us is that we help them bridge the execution gap. And that's kind of a term that we use just to describe really any pain points that a service business might be experiencing. So over here on the left, we have a list of business processes. It could be call taking and dispatching, work order management, asset management, contracts, warranties, inspections, reporting. These are all capabilities of our software, and they're also business processes in a lot of service operations or service organizations. And the thing about some technology is sometimes companies will perhaps buy smartphones or tablets for their service technicians or their field technicians. But just buying the hardware doesn't necessarily mean that it's connected to that business process. So our goal with our solutions is to really connect them to the technology and stakeholders so that the right people can get at the right data at the right time and ensure more productivity, a smoother operation, and ultimately a better bottom line. This slide kind of outlines a couple of our solutions as a company. So we've divided the market into kind of three major big areas. There's kind of the back office or service operations piece. There's the scheduling piece, and then there's the mobile piece for technicians out in the field. And so across those three big areas, we've got two major solutions. One is our full service solution called Service Pro. So we've got Service Pro and Service Pro Mobile, and that's the main solution that we'll be talking about today. We also sell an inspection solution. I'll show you some of the inspection capabilities in our service system, but we also sell just the inspection solution. So for site safety surveys or really any kind of inspections or audits, we'll show you what we can do. But we've got a full inspection builder where customers can build their own essentially native applications, dispatch a form to the iPad, and go enter data against that form offline out in the field, sync it back to a database, and have that for reporting purposes. But again, full-blown service solution, also have a full-blown inspection solution. We'll primarily be talking about our field service solution today. But feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about either one. As I mentioned, we kind of divide up the world into our back office, scheduling, and mobile components. So in the back office, that's where we would do call taking, work order management, contracts management, warranty management, essentially really all the back office functions, somebody at a desk, at a computer most of the day. Scheduling tends to be within field service organizations. There tends to be a specialized scheduling or dispatch role. Sometimes it's also kind of a shared hat in the back office, but for larger customers, there's kind of a dedicated scheduling and dispatch type role. And so we'll show you what we do there, but our solution really enables better communication and better visibility for the dispatch person across looking at the field. So the goal is really to eliminate unnecessary communication so that the dispatcher doesn't have to pick up the phone and call the field technician while he or she is right in the middle of a job. With our scheduler and our mobile solution, everything is seamless back and forth communication, kind of asynchronous. So we'll show you how that works. And then the mobile piece is basically allowing the technicians out in the field to enter line items on a work order, parts, materials, labor, miscellaneous charges like tolls or things like that. And all of that gets saved against the work order and then pushed into Sage for billing purposes. And we'll get into the details of how that works in a little bit. I mentioned our inspection solution called Veil. Here's a quick slide just outlining the three big components of our inspection solution. Here on the left first is our inspection builder. So it's all drag and drop. There's no coding necessary. You can literally build inspection forms in a matter of minutes and modify them in a number of seconds. And it's incredibly easy. And doing that would actually real-time dispatch a form to a mobile device to be used in the field for data collection purposes. Again, that could be an inspection, it could be an audit, that could just be collecting data out in the field, and all that's going to be stored in a database for reporting. We can do a number of different reporting capabilities on it, and we'll show you a couple of those in our service system today. You might be wondering, okay, I have a pretty good idea of what field service is, but where does MSI fall in the spectrum of kind of field work, and what do they do, and what do their customers look like? Well, our customers, we have customers in over 20 different vertical markets. Most of them are in what we would call break-fix kind of asset-based repair. So think of a HVAC contractor who's working on a particular AC air conditioning unit or a furnace. There's a serialized asset at a fixed location in the field that may or may not be under warranty or a service contract, and we want to track the service history against that. That's our, most of our customers would fall into that general category. We also have service contractors who may not do asset-based repair, but we have customers in a lot of different verticals. It could be customer service equipment, things like money counting machines or coffee machines. Medical devices is another big one for us. Industrial equipment, these could be things like generators or heavy equipment or tractors or construction equipment out in the field. Those things tend to be serviced quite a bit. Often routine maintenance is a big part of that. Aerospace equipment, consumer durables, things like rugged devices, kind of the enterprise class mobile devices, things like that. We also have, I guess, one thing that I haven't really covered so far. We have a repair center module in our software. I know Sage has an RMA module. Ours kind of goes a little bit above that in tracking serialized assets, pulling them from the field, tracking where they are, inspecting them, going through different phases, repairing, refurbishing. So we won't be talking about that much today, but if you have any customers looking for a repair center solution, feel free to reach out to us, and we are happy to chat more about that. This slide is essentially a table of contents for all the different pieces of the Service Pro solution. So there's the Service Pro back office application, which we really won't be showing today just due to time constraints, but we're happy to set up additional time to talk to you about that. We'll also be at the Sage Summit, and so we can answer questions there. But Service Pro is kind of the main desktop kind of client-server application, similar to an ERP system. That's where a lot of the back office stuff happens. That's where you essentially create a work order. After creating the work order, this is Service Pro right here in the middle. After creating a work order, you would let's see if I can kind of highlight the pen. After creating a work order with Service Pro right here in the middle, we would then go to the visual scheduler up here in the top right. We'd find the right technician for that work order based on skill sets, geography, and of course availability, timing of their schedule. That act of scheduling the technician would actually push it to that technician's mobile device. From that mobile device, they could enter line items, parts, labor, miscellaneous charges, and they could also do an inspection out in the field. They could save and sync that survey or that those line items back to Service Pro, and then a number of different things could happen. They'd probably have a verification step. Once it's been verified, it would get pushed into Sage 100 for invoicing. They could also do reports. We have over 100 Crystal reports out of the box. We're happy to create more, or you could create more. The next thing that we might do is alerts, escalation, and workflow. So you might be familiar with the Knowledge Sync tool. We use that tool. We OEM that as part of our solution. We've got an event pack. It's a really powerful tool when it comes to field service, helping take care of calls or work orders that have been open too long, notifying customers that a technician's been dispatched or is on his way. Really incredible stuff that we can do there. And then the last thing is our stakeholder portals. And this kind of gets into, I believe it was number 3 on the webinar invite. This kind of gets into helping different stakeholders in the organization have access to the service system and the various data that's there. So really powerful, very configurable. We'll show you some of the capabilities when we get into the demo. So that's kind of our software pieces. In addition to our components, we work with a number of partners to extend our capabilities. So of course, we work with Sage. We're a Sage development partner. We work with a number of Sage resellers around the country. That's the ERP accounting piece. We do work with some other ERP packages. But another big area for us is the telematics, GPS, or fleet management area. We partner with TomTom, Trimble, GE, really a vast array of GPS providers, and we're always partnering with more for our customers. So if a customer has a fleet of vehicles, they might have GPS tracking devices on those vehicles. As part of our solution, we pull the GPS from the smartphone or tablet and show that on our scheduler, but we can just as easily pull that from a third-party telematics solution. So we do that in a lot of cases. We've got partners that sell rugged hardware devices. which can be very beneficial for service technicians that are, in extreme weather conditions, or maybe up on a pole 100 feet in the air and worried about dropping kind of a consumer device and the cost of repairing that. There's some more rugged hardware that can withstand a little bit more of a beating. And then there's a couple other areas that we partner with companies with. Maybe it's the payroll side, companies like Paychex or ADP. Maybe it's the mobile invoicing side, or maybe it's mapping data or GIS. So the point here is really most companies that are deploying a field service solution will be using it for at least 10 years, assuming it's working well. And in those 10 years, the company will hopefully grow and their needs will change. And we're a company that will help grow with your customers and provide additional solutions and work with other technology to make sure that there's a seamless operation end-to-end across all the different software packages or hardware packages. So now that's just some information about us as a company, about our products and some of the different areas that we sell solutions in. Now we're getting into really the heart of the webinar and hopefully what you guys came here to learn. So step one of modernizing field service is about empowering schedulers. So again, we talked about the idea of a specialized kind of scheduling and dispatch role in field service organizations. And if you talk to somebody who's in scheduling and dispatch, their main goal is really to understand what their service technicians are doing. And maybe even as few as 3 years ago, before smartphones really became incredibly popular and incredibly more affordable than they had been in the past, this was an incredibly difficult task. Understanding where several different technicians were, what jobs they were on, where they were headed next, was not an easy thing to do. Now, thanks to things like the iPhone, Android, a lot of these consumer mobile devices, 4G data networks, this has become a lot easier. So we'll show you kind of how we do this, but most of it is focused around our visual scheduler. So in a moment, I'll pull up a live demo of our visual scheduler. But basically what this allows us to do is have the back office scheduler or dispatch have visibility to where technicians are, what jobs they're working on, what the status of those jobs is, where they're headed next. We've got complete drag and drop capabilities, so reassigning jobs is as easy as dragging and drop. And this is a web-based scheduler, so it's accessible from anywhere. So with that, rather than talk about it and show you slides all day, I'm going to jump into a demo of the software. So let me pull up our scheduler very briefly. All right, so you should be able to see my screen. So this is our web-based scheduler. Up here along the top is a list of the technicians. So you can see where technicians are. We can look at their schedule for the day. And we see different colors of different jobs. These colors correspond to statuses. This is completely configurable. So you see statuses over here on the left. You could have 2 statuses. You could have 22 statuses. The colors are completely configurable as well. It's really up to the customer. And then you also see over here on the map where technicians are. And so basically what I can do is actually, right now I'm looking at a list of unassigned orders. So I can click on this order. It's actually going to take me to the Atlanta, Georgia area. I can see really this is kind of the only job in that area. These jobs are denoted by buildings. So I can zoom out and maybe see, oh, here's a job over here at CycleTex, and the technician assigned is Keith, so maybe I want to assign it to Keith. We've got a number of different codes and fields available for tagging this job. I can zoom out even further and see where some technicians are. So I can see Jim and Mary are kind of in the area. Maybe I know that this job requires a certain skill set. Maybe it requires some electric skills. So I could pull up skill filtering and filter on electrician skilled technicians, and you can see this collapses that list down considerably. So I can see Keith is there. He's going to be at Cycletex later today, or he's there right now. And so I might want to drag this job up to Keith. So I just basically click and drag and drop, and put this on Keith's schedule. And now we can see 2533, the Wendy Manning job, is assigned to Keith. And so that's our visual scheduler. So that's how scheduling and dispatch happens. Now I could log on as Keith, access that job. A little bit later in our demo, I'm actually going to be logging on as myself, and we'll be looking at this order 2550, Acacia Supply. So that's the job that we'll be looking at when we get to the mobile demo. Right now I'm looking at 24 hours worth of work. I could just as easily zoom out to basically 30 slots of 1 day each. So if customer service operation is really looking at day-long jobs instead of hour-long jobs, our scheduler can handle that as well. Another thing we can do, if we've got several branches that we schedule for, we've got additional filtering capabilities. So maybe I, as a dispatcher, am only responsible for scheduling technicians out of North Jersey. I can see that I only have 3 technicians out of North Jersey, and so I could filter based on that capability as well. Again, very configurable, very customizable, a lot of different options here. Again, rescheduling is as simple as drag and drop. I can see the statuses based on colors. I could change the status here if I needed to or wanted to. But that's essentially our scheduling solution. So that is kind of that first area of the webinar. Again, we talked about basically helping the dispatcher, helping the scheduler have more visibility into field operations, and that happens on our visual scheduler. Step 2 of modernizing field service is about mobilizing the service technician. So again, this is that piece that has really only been possible in the last couple of years with the advent and improved popularity and accessibility of mobile devices like the iPhone, the iPad, Android phones, and Android tablets, which our mobile solution runs on all of those, as well as on Windows devices. So any Android phone or iOS device or Windows Mobile device out in the field can be running what you'll see in a moment here. But really, when you talk to service technicians or field technicians, they'll tell you that a big thing of what they would like when it comes to technology is really simplicity. They want to spend more time doing their job and less time writing about their job or filling out paperwork or entering data into the computer. And without a mobile device, a lot of the time they'll be filling out a sheet of paper. They'll be dealing with a lot of text messages or phone calls about how to get work. But with the mobile device, we can do several things that make that technician's life a lot easier. We can basically, empower service technicians with the ability to open and close jobs, view their schedule on the mobile device, view it as it's changing, eliminate some of that paperwork, eliminate a lot of the calls to and from the dispatcher. Because we're collecting data and getting it to the back office more quickly, that means we can typically invoice customers more quickly, shorten that time to cash cycle. And again, we run on iPad, iPhone, Android, and Windows mobile devices. The invoicing more quickly story is really a great one. Again, if you're capturing data on a sheet of paper, sometimes the technicians may not bring that paper back to the office until the end of the week. Then you've got to have a dedicated role kind of entering that info line by line. Could be mistakes that are made, sloppy handwriting, and that has to get invoiced. So a lot of extra steps, a lot of extra time. With our mobile solution, we can cut down on those extra steps and time. So again, something that I will jump into a demo and show you how it works. Give me just one moment to get my iPad up on the screen here. So, now you should be able to see my iPad up on the screen. Give me, again, just one moment because it's not displaying quite like we'd like. There we go. Apologize for the technical difficulties. One more moment.
And Ray, we do have a question, if I may present a question at this point while this is syncing. From a scheduling standpoint, can the scheduler automatically schedule the best fit technician for the job based on tools, skills, and location?
Yes. We do have some capabilities that would allow that to take place. One option we have is actually setting a preferred technician for an account. So anytime a work order for that account gets created, that preferred technician could automatically be scheduled. And there could be a backup technician for that preferred technician that could be scheduled if one of them was out of town or something like that. The other option is there's some workflow capabilities that we could have for getting that taken care of. Great question. Thanks. It looks like the iPad is cooperating. We're using some third-party software to share the screen. Hopefully you can see it. But basically, this is what a mobile technician out in the field would use. So this could be an iPad, again, could be an iPhone. If it was an iPhone, they wouldn't see the pane side by side. They'd just see kind of the one pane to a screen real estate. But I mentioned I'm going to be working with that Acacia Supply job because that's what I've got on my schedule for today, 2550. And the first thing that I'm going to come in and do is set my status. I might view the job and accept it, and that's going to change the status on the visual scheduler. And the next thing I might do is tell the dispatcher that I've arrived on site, and so they don't need to worry about calling the customer and explaining that I'm late or will be there soon. So this is just one way that we communicate back to that scheduler and improve, simplify the technician's life, eliminating the need for calls or text messages. And it's just built into the application, happens kind of automatically in the background. Again, a number of configurable different states here. So that's the first thing I do. If there were comments on the work order, I could see those here. I could also use Siri to add some additional comments. So that's nice. Saves me the hassle of typing. So I could record comments about the work order. And now I'm just going to navigate with these tabs down here on the bottom. So there's a contact tab. I could see some contacts that are associated with this site. Maybe I have to call somebody to have them let me through the gate or get access to a building. If this is a phone, I could just tap on one of them and give them a call. And then I mentioned we do a lot of asset-based repair. So I can see the Oxylog 3000 is the piece of equipment that is in need of repair. Turns out it's under warranty. It's under warranty until January 27th of 2014. And that warranty covers parts but not labor. And so the system's actually going to be smart enough to know when we enter parts, it's going to zero out those prices and it's going to be associated with the warranty, but the labor costs will be billed and invoiced to the customer. So we can see warranty information about an asset. There's the serial number. And then there's really three things that I can add on the work order. I can add parts. So these parts would actually be coming from the Sage 100 inventory module. So I could, let's just say we need to add a bolt to fix this Oxylog 3000. Maybe we needed to add a 6-pin coupler Those are always incredibly important on the Oxylog 3000. So we've added a couple parts, consume those out in the field. This is going to relieve inventory or decrement inventory in Sage 100. I could enter my time against this work order. So I can say that I arrived at 12:30 and I worked until, we'll just say 2:30. And then so it's going to log 2 hours of my time against this work order at my billable rate. So we can enter parts, we can enter time, and then tasks is kind of our catch-all. This could be charging for mileage, charging for airfare, really things that aren't necessarily physical consumable goods, on things that aren't time. So maybe we have a regulatory compliance fee that we have to charge our customer for working on the Oxylog 3000. And so those are all things that are going to be stored at the asset level, tracking service history against this particular piece of equipment. I could have multiple pieces of equipment on a work order. I could have 0 pieces of equipment on a work order. You see the task, and hour, and parts line items or tabs down here. I could have line items at just the work order level also. I could see service history, so I could see the last time I was out there and maybe what I did on this job site. And then we can also do inspections, which was another one of those workloads in that diagram that we showed. So here we just got a sample inspection. So area manager, we'll say the area manager is Jim, the crew foreman is Bob. We've got a date field, so those other ones were text fields. We've got date fields. We've got custom multiple choice fields, so I can say that this was indoors. And this one can be built entirely by the customer using that inspection builder. I can capture images and then store those with the work order. So I could maybe capture a picture of my keyboard, and we can use that and store that with the work order. And I can also capture signatures. So I'll first time and date stamp this signature, and then I'll go ahead and capture a signature out in the field. So we'll just say myself, Ray Thomas, signed off on this job, and now we captured a signature out in the field, and this will all be stored with the work order. Here's a few check boxes that we might be able to enter. So I'll go ahead and save that inspection. Again, we've entered our parts. We've entered some hours. We added a compliance fee. We completed an inspection, captured pictures, captured signatures out in the field. We added some comments. And so I've done my work as a technician. I'm going to go ahead and change my status to closed. And go ahead and hit closed. And then when I hit save on this work order, you'll see this list of work orders go from 5 down to 4. So go ahead and press save. And now that list is gone because I've completed that work order. So it could be redispatched to me or redispatched to somebody else, but for the moment, I'm done with what I need to do. And so that's kind of the mobile solution. And so hopefully you saw there a couple places that we can make the technician's life a little bit easier. So we've talked about scheduling and dispatch. We've talked about mobile. And then the last component of the webinar that we wanted to talk about today is involving stakeholders. These stakeholders could be service managers. They could be internal customers. They could be external customers. Typically, besides the dispatcher and the service tech, there's typically at least one other role in the service organization that needs some kind of visibility into the information. So now we're going to talk about how we get some of the information that we just saw and just we're working with back to the right people. So one of the ways that we do that is with Knowledge Sync. I mentioned we have an event pack. So here you can see a snapshot of our event pack. Obviously, we can do things with inventory. We could also do things with calls or orders or contracts or repairs. And so really, the sky's the limit here. Again, incredibly configurable. Hopefully you're familiar with Knowledge Sync or Sage Alerts and Workflow, as I believe it's called. But a number of different things we can do. We'll show you a couple of sample alerts, but a couple of the ones that are probably most beneficial is scheduling, again, for scheduling and dispatching of technicians. If I reschedule a technician, I could automatically set up a text message to go to that technician to say, hey, Bob, you no longer have to work on order 2601. Steve's actually going to be assigned to it because he's closer than you are, or something along those lines. So, and then, of course, we could notify Steve, hey, this work order has been assigned to you. So that's just a couple examples of that, but really the goal here is, again, sharing information to the right people at the right time. These can be scheduled. These can be triggered based on events. That's kind of one piece of our solution for different stakeholders. And the other is our stakeholder portals. So our stakeholder portals are really, one way we typically explain them is kind of like a My Yahoo dashboard. So if you've ever used one of those My Yahoo homepage or Google homepage or a number of different services where you can go on and tell it, what your favorite sports teams are, what your favorite stocks are, the city that you live in, so that it can display weather information. It's the same kind of idea, just applied to a business and a service operation. So rather than stock info and sports scores, it's contract info and utilization KPIs. Really any kind of metrics that people want to see about the business by role. So different roles can have different visibility, different access to information. So as a couple samples, you could have an administrator who's just looking at workload. You could have a senior management type of role who's looking at profitability, contracts, and things like that. An operations manager who's just ensuring that things are happening appropriately. So sales support, maybe they're looking at different product information. Contract administrators, field techs might log in and view data relevant to doing their job. And so these are all basically different views in our stakeholder portals. So again, our stakeholder portals are web-based. They're accessible from anywhere. This is essentially what they look like. So you can see this is what a technician might look like, their portal anyways. They could have a video widget. They could pull up a list of videos. Maybe they want to view how to change a target light. So we can view that, watch a video on a piece of equipment we haven't repaired in a while, get up to date on that. Maybe we need to pull up a manual so we can search through manufacturers and products and maybe open a PDF to look up some information. And so again, this is all stored kind of on the web, so it's accessible from virtually anywhere. And these are all drag and drop. So if I want to move this video widget over here, I can just like that. It's configurable. And the idea is a technician would see one thing, whereas a service manager or executive or even a customer might see other information limited to their role, their job scope. So a service manager, for example, they might view equipment history. So we might look up a particular part or a particular piece of equipment to view the service history on that equipment. So maybe we just want to see all the work orders that have used that 1-inch bolt, for example. I might be trying to do a little too much at the same time here, but I could pull up a part or a model number, and then this equipment history widget would change and show me all the data relevant to that part or model number. Again, an executive might want to look at profitability widgets or contract renewal or just a list of contracts. This is, again, very configurable. It can be defined by role or by user. And a customer might want to come in and view their data relevant to them, access, service history, request service on a particular piece of equipment. And so this is one way they could do that. And so these are all, ways that we can set up our portal solution so that different stakeholders can interact with the service operation. Another piece that we were just talking about is the events manager portion. So we set up just a sample email account at outlook.com. And earlier today in prepping for my demo, I created a work order at Acacia Supply, work order 2550 for Steve. So we notified Steve that a work order was created for him, and if he needed to know the number, it was 2550. Then when we dispatched Keith, we sent Keith an email. This could easily be a text message, and said that we dispatched this job to him for 3 o'clock. And so that's a sample alert for the dispatching side. And then when we close that order 2550 out in the field, we could send an alert to the service manager, hey, the technician Ray Thomas closed this work order. So really any point in the system can generate this alert. It can go to the customer, it could have a PDF attached. We could email the results of that inspection. Again, incredibly configurable, a lot of different things that we can do there. So we've talked about scheduling and dispatch. We've talked about mobile field techs and how we make their lives simpler. We've talked about other stakeholders in the organization and how they can get at different data through stakeholder portals or through events manager generating alerts and messages to them. And so another piece of the organization that's equally important is the IT side. So one question the IT director might be thinking is, okay, great, I understand the importance of this, but now I'm going to have to manage yet another system that's separate from all my other systems and could just create more headaches for me at the end of the day. Well, good news for them is that we have integration into Sage 100. So there's no double entry. The databases are talking to each other. The software is integrated. And so we're actually going to pull over live. This is live updates, real time. We're going to pull over a listing of customers and equipment, as well as any ship-to addresses or sites. We've also integrated parts and parts availability from inventory. So we pull over that list of parts just like we pull over that list of customers, and so everything matches up. And then again, when we consume parts out in the field, we can decrement inventory in Sage. And obviously, when inventory gets decremented in Sage 100, then we'll see that in Service Pro as well. Another area that we pull over is credit status. So we might not want to open work orders for customers that are above their credit limit. And then that closing step out in the field, when we close a work order, again, there might be a verification step in the back office, but we can push all those line items, those parts that we added, as well as the labor hours. We could push all those into Sage 100 onto a sales order invoice to be sent to the customer for invoicing purposes. We did kind of a high-level overview today. Here is a list of all the capabilities of our software, of our Service Pro kind of back office solution. So we talked a lot about field service today. That's something we do well. Parts and inventory, obviously they'll probably be doing some of that in Sage already. Repair center is one area that we've got. Again, some of that's in Sage, but we can do a bit more and go above and beyond what those capabilities are. Contracts and warranties is typically a very big one. A lot of service companies sell service agreements, which is a very profitable area for them. And so we can do a lot when it comes to warranties and extended service contracts. And then mobile, we spent some time on today. So these are all the different capabilities of Service Pro. Anticipating a couple questions, how does the integration work? How many customers do you have? What's in it for me? What's the cost? Who should I be in touch with? So the integration, we actually utilize Bob Richter at ROI Consulting. He has a product called InSync, which basically allows for accessing the Sage database through web API calls and web services. And so we use that to do the real-time integration to Sage. It works very well. I know that there's a number of other ways to integrate into Sage products, but that's how we built the current integration, and it's working well. As far as how many customers we have, it's really a handful right now. So under 10, that number is growing steadily. We hope to have more after the Sage Summit next week. Again, if you're in at the Sage Summit, feel free to stop by booth number 420 or attend our session Monday at 2 p.m. very similar to what we'll be talking about today, but we'll go into even more depth and how the software works and how we work with Sage. So also a quick plug for Adrian's session on Tuesday morning at 8:30. Come and learn more about all the great things she's doing with ERP VAR, and I'm sure she'll send some information to you if she hasn't already about what you can learn in that session. As far as what's in it for you in working with us, we do have a couple different levels of partnership agreements. We can go over the details of those. Most of our partners are really referral partners, and so there's a commission for any business that you refer to us, and that commission can go up, the more business you refer or the more sales effort that's involved. So we're working with a number of different resellers in several different formats across that partner program. I won't get into cost today. I'd be happy to follow up with you and share our price lists on an individual basis. As far as who to get in touch with, you can contact me. Again, my name is Ray Thomas. My email is here on the screen, rayt, R-A-Y-T, at msidata.com, or you can call me directly, 262-518-7028. And again, you can look for me at the Sage Summit next week in the DC area. So with that, I'll pause and allow for questions. So if you have a question, feel free to use the chat window or use the raise hand functionality. If you have to drop off, completely understand. Thanks for attending. Hope this was a valuable use of your time, and look forward to talking more with all of you.
Thank you so much, Ray. And audience, I do have a few polls, but we do have a few questions here. So I will launch the polls while I'm announcing the questions.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and launch the first poll, and I'm going to multitask here very carefully and ask the question too. Do you have any customers who may benefit from this solution? Audience, if you could please answer this question, that would be great. And we do have a handful of Sage 100 ERP customers on the line who are investigating this solution, Ray. But we do also have a number of channel partners on the line. So this question applies to the channel partners. If you could take a moment to answer this poll, that would be great. And Ray, we do have a question here. How many field service techs do your average customers have?
That's a great question. It's tough for us to come up with an average. I'd say at the low end, it's probably about 8 to 10 technicians out in the field, and then probably another 2 to 4 people in the back office managing those field workers. On the high end, it's hundreds or even thousands. So we have some large customers with hundreds, and then some 1 or 2 with 1,000 or a couple thousand technicians out in the field with the mobile device, doing inspections or entering work order information. So average, we've got a lot more smaller customers, a lot more in that 10 to 50 range. So the average is probably in the 25 to 50 space, which I think is typically a good fit for the Sage 100 market. But we're really willing to work with customers of all sizes.
And we do have a comment. Great presentation. Service tech is a major market for us. Well, thank you so much, Cornelius, for that question. And then I know you addressed this, Ray, but if I think this question was asked before you addressed this particular question, how much does this cost? How is it priced?
Sure. So pricing can vary depending on the modules and the solution. So I won't get into all the details. The best way to get specific pricing information is to reach out to me with my contact information that you can see here on the screen. But overall, from a licensing perspective, most of the modules are licensed as basically a per user per month charge. The stakeholder portals is a flat fee regardless of users, because we want to encourage customers to allow their customers to access it, and if we license it per user, that cost could add up considerably. Similarly with Events Manager, we don't want to license it per event or per employee or anything like that, because we want it to be used as much as possible. Partners can also take care of that events manager sale. We're happy to let you have the events manager portion, and we'll just install our event pack as long as the customer's licensed appropriately. But typically it's a per user per month cost. There's one cost for field techs and one cost for back office workers and employees. But if you want specifics, again, reach out to me via email or phone, and I'd be happy to share that information.
And we have another question. Can you handle reverse logistics, returns, and replacements?
So I'm assuming that means like removing a part from the field, potentially repairing it in-house or sending it back to a vendor, or even just removing it from the field and replacing it with something in-house. We typically refer to that as an RMA. I believe it is also called reverse logistics. I hope we're on the same page. Or repair center or in-house repair depot are also some names for those. But yes, the answer to your question in a few too many words is yes. We handle that as part of our solution, so we can track kind of all the various stages, where the different parts are, and make sure that nothing gets lost in the operation.
And there are many or several different field service applications available for Sage 100 ERP users. Are there some key differentiators that you can think of that you've come across, the reasons why customers would choose Service Pro over the other options?
Sure. Obviously, I don't know as much about our competitors' offerings as I do about our own, and I'm sure that there are great solutions out there. But at the same time, we have been steadily growing in the Sage market because of our offering, and we do have customers choosing us over our competitors for a number of reasons. Probably the number one reason is our mobile solution. Again, that's really been driving our business across several different markets, but especially the Sage market. So we've got a great, easy-to-use mobile application that is really one of the biggest drivers behind success in automating field service. So mobile is the first thing. Scheduling is probably the second. I know there are other scheduling solutions out there. Again, ours is web-based, drag and drop, very easy to use, a lot of flexibility there. Portals is probably another one. So I showed a brief overview of our stakeholder portals. That can be incredibly, incredibly valuable. We had a customer that was spending 30 days and had 2 full-time employees just trying to pull data out of their system, put it in Excel, and put it in a graph for their executive team to look at. By the time they saw it, it was 30 days old, and those 2 people were spending a considerable amount of time on it. We went in with our portal solution and basically automated that process so the executives could see that data real time, and those 2 employees could focus on other more business, other things that have better impact to the business and better value to the business. And the last thing I'll say is, again, we didn't even show our back office solution today. That back office piece has been around for over 15 years. It's got over 3 million lines of code. It has got incredible depth of functionality, and that's another reason that we win deals in this marketplace is all of the different ways that we handle service contracts, maintenance agreements, setting up assets. We'd be happy to talk more about all those different capabilities. Every service operation is a little bit different. One thing I'll say that I forgot to mention about our sales cycle, our sales cycle is a very consultative sale. It is not a off-the-shelf, here you go, here's the product, this is what it does, because there's a lot of configuration. Similar to ERP systems, there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of configuration. It's a very consultative sale. Every service operation is a little bit different. So we like to start with a 30-minute discovery call. We call it a needs analysis, but we like to talk to customers, understand their business. A lot of customers will remark to us on that discovery call, hey, it sounds like you guys know what you're talking about because you've worked with a lot of service operations before, and mine might be a little bit different, but a lot of the elements are the same. And then we get into a demo that's really custom tailored to that organization, their operations, and their workflow. Back to the question, though, mobile is probably the biggest reason why people choose us. At the Sage Summit next week at booth number 420, we're actually going to have a wall of mobile devices. It's pretty cool. We'll have phones, 8-inch, 7-inch tablets, 10-inch tablets. So we'll have an iPhone, an iPad mini, an iPad, an Android phone, an Android small tablet, an Android big tablet, a Windows phone, a Windows small tablet, a Windows big tablet, and we'll have our Service Pro application running across all of those. So really an incredible thing to see, and hopefully you can stop by our booth.
And I'm not seeing any more questions at this time. I want to thank the audience for joining us today. If you did have any more questions, please go ahead and click on that question mark and indicate your question, or click on the raise your hand feature or button right next to your name, and I will unmute your line. With that said, thank you so much, Ray. That was a great presentation, and we do have another question, so let me pull that up. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Aaron. And thank you for plugging my session, Ray, at Sage Summit.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I'm sure we'll also have a lot of brochures and collateral, marketing materials, that kind of a thing. Feel free to stop by our booth, and we're happy to share that with you. I can also send you digital copies of some of our brochures and collateral if that's interesting to you. But again, if you've got a potential prospect that's looking for field service, we'd love to talk to you. Feel free to reach out, give us a call, and then we can set up that 30-minute discovery call and go from there.
Yeah, perfect. Well, with that said, the session at Sage Summit that you had referred to that we are giving, ERP VAR, is session P226, and that's on Tuesday morning at 8:30. And it's 5 ways to increase your Sage ERP software sales. So I'll go ahead and invite everybody on the call. This is applicable to Sage software resellers. And once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. This is recorded, and we'll go ahead and send a copy of the recording to everybody on the line as well. And Ray, did you have anything else that you wanted to close with?
No, I think we just about covered everything. I probably said, call me and visit our booth next week a few dozen times already, but
and that's booth 420.
What's that?
It's booth number 420.
Booth 420, that's right, booth 420. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to attend. We really do hope it was beneficial for you, that you learned something, and that you were able to take something away. Thank you so much, and hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you too, Ray. Everybody take care.
Thanks again.